Alright guys, welcome back to the most amazing gaming channel in the world. Today we're going to run over the Season 4.1, I guess Season 4 patch notes. I guess it's going to be the first one, so not really a need. I will link this in the description box, so if you want to look at anything, you're more than welcome to go ahead. Also, go ahead and look at the PTS instructions. This is going to be huge for them, and they obviously want to get a lot of feedback. So basically, Vamana turned into Ong or Aang. If you're talking correctly, it's Aang. Do not say it's Ong the Airbender, it's Aang. They also give him the blue skin, which is going to be cool. What I'm interested in is the, I want to say it was the Vishnika. Maybe not. Maybe I'm completely butchering it. But the skin that they have out for Vamana. What about Lil Mana and things like that? I'm going to see how that works out with this as well. Or are they just basically going to credit us back for those gems? So visual updates, yay. New skins, not a big deal. Energy picked out Kwang as their thing, so, you know, I guess that's kind of cool. You have Nike, Uller Mastery skins. Now, the Undying Chest, I think this is going to be cool as far as Full Metal Vulcan. This is going to be a cool skin. Besides that, this is just, they're all reskins. They're not very cool, I don't think. I mean, I think they're all right. I think this looks a little bit better than the actual Idusa, but for the most part, I think this is... I don't know. I think it's a dumb idea. New emotes, things like that, loading frames, new recalls. If you guys looked at that, basically, you're going to get the Iron Tyrant loading frames if you're in gold. Otherwise, you will get all of this stuff. New recalls, that's going to be interesting as well. Basically, I'm not sure what they were. I know that the Diamond God recall is, I think it was supposed to be Diamond Demigod recall, but that's going to be when you mastered 80 gods to Diamond. That's going to be crazy, but I think this is really cool. It basically allows you to get something for actually diamonding people. There's going to be the energy ward for, you know, part of the esports bundle, or eSprouts, depending on if you are speak high res or not. The Morgan, they added some achievements in the client updates. So this, I think, is going to be very cool. You get the T-screen returns. It's going to give you a lot of stuff. So not only shows you top kills, gold, damage, and mitigated, but it's going to kind of show you as a combat log as well. So you can kind of see what this is. If you're running through and you're like, wait, how the fuck did I die? It's going to show you that as well. So I think that is very, very cool. Now there's mastery features. So every 1,000 worshippers obtained, people can see how big of a scumbag Loki you are when you have 16 stars next to your diamond rank. Congrats. Going on to the Season 3 ranked rewards, basically you get the Diamond, Conquest and Joust, and I believe Duel as well. You're going to get those loading frames, and then you're also going to basically get that for Diamond, Plat, Masters, all that fun stuff. You have till January 31st to finish that up, so congrats guys, you have about 12 days to be able to finish that off. In Season 4 ranked update, I think that's going to be very, very cool. In subsequent seasons, they will do a soft reset, but for now, they're going to be doing a hard reset. This is a huge thing, and I'm super excited for this personally. As soon as Season 4 launches, I will be going in and playing a shit ton of rank to hopefully get better people. I really hope I don't get some bronzes and I get completely fucked and back into elo hell, but I guess we will see. It's going to be a little bit of a gamble. They've updated qualifying, as I talked about in my other one. Yeah, you can now go get placed out of Gold 1. Even Grandmasters were being placed into Gold 1 and have to do the grind. Multiple splits. There's going to be a now full rank season divided into basically the esports scene. You'll have like a spring, a winter, a fall, and then the final one. It's going to be interesting. Promo games will be removed, as I talked about last time too. Once you get 100 points, so if you get 108, you'll get promoted and then go to the next division. I think that's very cool. But the demotion games are going to be a little bit different. Lobby timers they talked about, and the draft pick, this is something I didn't talk about in the last one. So you'll get bonus time during the picking and banning phase. So if a pick or ban timer hits 0, it will take away in the bonus time basically from what you decided to. So if you immediately lock in and you have the auto lock at 23 seconds left, that will have 23 seconds. I think this is cool because now you can actually, you know, hurry up and get through it. And I can't tell you how many times people are sitting there and they're like, oh, sorry, I was gone. What happened? They can actually, you know, utilize that time to still get the bans off. Rank pause, I talked about that as well. New leaderboards, I talked about that. Ranked rewards. Basically, that was the God leaderboards, as it talked about here, 800, 400, 200. The gem rewards being in the top 25 of the entire game. This, I don't know why it says league. They talked about it in the patch notes. They said the entire game. It's not going to be top 25 players in Bronze 5 get 3,500 gems. They'd be fucking stupid. Talked about the intelligent matchmaking in low pop regions. So there's that. Basically, you have the season ticket now. Get some other stuff. They're kind of just talking. You get 15 team worshiper boosters, so congrats. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Able to be picked up and stuff like that. You get a permanent fantasy points. Be able to vote on games. Bundle of quests that can go up to 1,500 fantasy points. So basically, by getting this spring season ticket, you get a bunch of stuff. This is going to be free for everything, so you're going to get the chest rolls, loading frames, all the stuff like that. The Never Kick Announcer Pack, I know a lot of people are going to be excited for that. The Undying Chest is going to be Encore Agni on all of this stuff that you can see right here. Yay. Awesome, not a big deal. You get some skins. Clash map update, that's useless. I mean, it was kind of cool, but not something super awesome. As you can kind of see, they adjusted Outer Pass, did that, changed some jungle buffs, and some gameplay changes. Again, not too big of a deal because it's Clash. Conquest is the one thing that's really going to matter. As you can see, as I talked about, they wanted to eliminate being able to see damage and speed from the midway or from the mid lane, so now they're going to buff that out so that you cannot see. It's going to basically allow you to actually run in to see. I think that is good. We talked about the game changes. There is a kill bounty change I forgot to address. I do apologize. For experience now, instead of getting an additional 10% based on the level, so it would be 10% base experience times, and say you're a 12, your support just got a kill on their Fed ADC, so you're 12 and he's 18, you can almost get 200% experience. Pretty cool. I mean, you'd get, an extra, or 60%, so it'll be 160% of your normal level experience, which is pretty cool. They've now increased the XP from Conquest Mins, not the damage. This wasn't a big thing. I know a lot of people wanted to actually see, the damage come out. Early game, they are fucking ridiculous that they can do 500 damage so quick. I can't tell you the amount of times I've died because the player does 200 damage and the mins do 350, and I die with 600 health. Like, this was not what they needed. They basically decreased the total experience for a full min wave from 330 to 300. Changed the jungle monsters, now harpies give out more experience and gold, and lowered their base health but increased the health per minute. Things like that. Boars are removed from the map. I believe this will take place of the new aura that we were talking about. And then the Elder Harpies basically decreased everything on that. Decreased the experience and the gold. So they're really going to kind of focus on you getting, your own jungle. That seems like that's what Smite's going for, is really wanting to put emphasis on the jungle this time, not necessarily the mid camps, which it sucks because a lot of junglers don't know how to immediately grab their jungle as it comes up, at least from what I've seen. The Cyclops Rogue, that's kind of what I was talking about. It's going to drop the purple buff. This is not going to be attack speed, which is going to be very, very confusing for some, but it will be the physical and magical protection aura reduction. There's going to be the Cyclops Small, which is going to basically be the same thing as the Cyclops Rogue. Damage and speed from the mana. They're going to increase the experience, but increase the health per minute while decreasing the base health. All that fun stuff. Fire Elementals, that's going to be for the first 10. It's going to decrease the health, but increase the minute. All that fun stuff. So it looks like they're just trying to make the early game may have a little bit quicker lane clear because of the major changes to it. Now the Elder Elementals, XP value is 105, gold is 46, the base health is 760. So wrathing this could be beneficial as soon as you get it, especially when you upgrade Wrath. It's going to be very, very interesting. The Oracle Harpy camp, as I talked about too, basically gives you 2 Oracle Harpies. If you kill them, you get it. The spawn time's 30 seconds, respawns every 30 or every 3 minutes. You get a vision for 90 seconds. That's going to be really cool. Minute and a half of vision. Then you are going to have a minute and a half where you don't have vision. That's huge for the fact that you can go ahead and do that. The boss portal demon, again, we talked about that as well. It's going to act like Gold Fury. Base health is 2500. So like I said, Gold Fury like stats. You probably can't do it with just one person until maybe in the later game. 2500 is not too bad for 10 minutes into the game, but you might need 2 or 3 people to quickly secure it. When killed, they do create the portal. Lasts for 1 minute and it has a 5-minute cooldown. So really just don't grab this just because you can. This is going to be very strategic as to, do you take it away from your opponent? Or do you go ahead and grab it in 2 minutes when you're going to need to gank into middle lane really quick? This is going to be huge, and you won't need teleport as a solo laner anymore. As a main solo, this is huge for me, in addition to some of the other starter items, which we're going to get down to shortly. Now, the Fire Giant, basically, his base health has been decreased, but his health per minute is scaling rapidly. Like 4 times as much, but to cut this in. For me, this means as soon as it spawns at level 10, you fucking grab this, because 4,000 damage isn't that much to do. However, maybe later in, health per minute after that, so it spawns at 10 minutes, you say, go ahead, and now all of a sudden it's got 20,000 health. That's going to be a little bit more harder to go through. So we'll kind of see how that goes, because, you add another 10 minutes onto that, so 20 minutes, now you're at 18, I think, 1,000. What is it? I think so. maybe 14. Let's just say 14,000. It's going to be a little bit more. So 10 minutes is going to be actually much more viable and really bring a different meta, I think, by cutting the health like that in half, or yeah, in half. Like, that is crazy. I know it's not quite half, but let's just say it is. Going into the consumables, now there's going to be Flickering Ritual. This basically is Combat Blink. For those that don't know what it is, if you are in combat, you can still blink 55 units or up to that. That's going to be interesting. Frenzied Ritual is going to be just like Frenzy, but it's now going to be a little bit different. It's going to buff all allies within 55, increasing their damage output by 25% on all targets, while also increasing the attack speed by 20% for 10 seconds. This is going to be very, very cool, and it's something that I love because, I can go ahead, dive on in, activate it on everyone, and then go. Like, this is going to be huge. I really like this. It doesn't, in effect, take up a, relic. Now, there also is a Relling Ritual, so this is going to be basically after 4 seconds of channel time, you can teleport to an allied god. This is essentially going to act like an Athena ultimate without any damage. However, be very, very careful when you use this, because if you do use this and you get hard CC'd, your ritual is lost and it can be interrupted. When activated, though, with Revealing Ritual, it's going to basically give all their location. It's going to act like a new ult, again, without the damage, and it's going to last for 5 seconds. So now there's also some other consumables, as we talked about in the last video. Chalice of Healing, that's going to be cool. This does not stack. It will just refresh, so because even Hindu Man said himself, he would just go out, walk out, sit there and spam 3 of them, run back in, run back out, spam 3, and he had like 20 minutes of healing going on in mana. Like, that would be stupid. Chalice of the Oracle, the same thing, max X2, place a ward on use. It's 300 gold. This is a mix-up. This is supposed to be 400, and again, I don't think that's going to be useful. I quickly went through the math really quick. Basically, it's going to need 50 gold each, which is going to put you at 8. Even setting 8 out, that's going to be... if you place 2 at a time, that's going to be 12 minutes, which means at 12:30 is when you finally will benefit from buying this. This will mean that you cannot get any health or mana potions, and I don't think it's going to be a very good thing. The fact that when you sell it, you don't get any gold, I think is very bad, and the fact it's not a sentry, I think is very bad as well. Updated consumables, like I said, it's going to go to 5 minutes, and the relic tabs. Now, this is going to be a pretty long one, so give me a moment, guys. I'm going to go grab a drink. I will be right back. They basically reorganized the relic tab, and there's going to be a ton of relics. Basically, for obvious reasons, removed Frenzy and Scout. This is now going to go back to Aegis. This is what we talked about. This is not Sanctuary. It was back in Aegis. This is going to be nice. Basically, it's 106 seconds. When it's upgraded, it's 130. Or 130. Blink is the same thing, going to be 120, but when upgraded down to 100 or down to 90 seconds, it's going to be huge for initiations. Cursed Ankh, also known as Curse, it's going to be Curse, but it no longer slows. Basically, is a pure anti-healing item, and I think this is going to be a very, very cool because it's going to kind of take down on healers. So things like Ra and Sylvanas, you can curse them and they're going to be down for 10 seconds, and it's going to reduce it, or the healing reduction duration is from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. When it's upgraded, it's going to be healing reduction increases from 50 to 65 and the duration from 10 to 15. I think this might be a slight thing. I'm going to go with this. It originally is 10 seconds. So they increased it to 10 seconds or normally. No longer slows, but now from 10 seconds to 15 seconds was when it upgrades and all that fun stuff. Wrath or Hand of the Gods or Hog. Hog is basically now going to do 300 plus 10 level per damage to a single enemy minion. I think that's really cool. If you kill something with it, you get a 30-second cooldown on it. That's going to be very, very awesome. Deals no damage to jungle bosses, but now when upgraded can stun. So that's going to be very, very interesting. Heavenly Wings, also known as Sprint, will now only cleanse slows. It's not going to provide slow immunity throughout the whole duration, which means don't pop a sprint, because now you can go ahead and pop a curse and go ahead and do it. Magic spell, also going to be known as Shell, is going to be a debuff or a nerf to it, not a debuff. Magic or base protections received has now been decreased to 30 with damage mitigation down to 5. It can be now upgraded, going from 30 to 45, which it normally was, but now the damage mitigation is only going to be 10% compared to 5. That's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be as good anymore. Meditation is now going to be able to, when upgraded, provide all allies hit with the buff, get 45 mana per 5 and 15 health per 5 for 30 seconds. I think that's going to be pretty interesting as well. Phantom is now still Phantom, but it now looks like that it will also be able to get you out of Odin rings, as well as grant you 40% CC reduction and immunity to knockups, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's going to be huge if you have an Awilix coming into ult, and now you can just go ahead and pop this, and that's going to be crazy. It's now going to last for 10 seconds as well instead of 5 when upgraded. Beads is now going to be 130 seconds when upgraded. Shield of Thorns, also known as Thorns, or Shield of the Underworld. Now they combine them both. Shield of Thorns. Damage Reflect is going to be increased to 50%, but when upgraded, will now increase the duration from 5 seconds to 8 seconds, and the cooldown decreases down to 100. That's going to be super, super awesome. Now, Sunder is now going to have an updated audio, as well as the protection and attack speed debuffs removed, but now increases damage taken by the target by 30% for 5 seconds. Now the damage will also increase when upgraded from 40 to 14 per level to 60 plus 20 per level. I mean, that's going to do some pretty good damage. I mean, right there, as long as you sunder someone at level 20, I mean, you go ahead and do the math there, you're going to be doing 460 damage. Just with Sunder. Very, very interesting right there. And the decrease of the damage from 100 seconds. Now this, I'm not 100% sure. I never really picked up Sunder too often, so I do apologize. I could go and look, but I want to keep moving through this. Teleport Glyph, also known as Teleport. Basically, the increase of cooldown from that to 200 seconds, but when upgraded, it's going to be 160. This is going to be useless. I really don't think that you're going to need this too often anymore. Horrific Emblem. This is going to be a new relic. This item now slows enemy gods by 40% and reduce their attack speed by 25. This is going to be very, very cool. The fact you can use that every 2 minutes. Like, that is going to be crazy. I'm super excited to see that come on out, because now you can actually use that more almost in every team fight if a team fight's happening every 2 minutes. Just be very careful with that. Bracer of Undoing. This is going to be a new relic, and it essentially subtracts. Basically, it's another CDR, because high-res loves CDR. When you use this item, you will now, every 2 minutes, you can use it. It subtracts 3 seconds from all abilities on cooldown, restores 50% of your health and mana lost within the last 3 seconds. This is actually like a Chronos rewind in a sense, as far as it's 3 seconds, from an upgraded, it's 5 seconds. So be very, very smart with that. Don't go ahead and pop this when nothing happens. You can use this to bait out ults and things like that, but from what it looks like, it's an individual player. It's not going to be an aura item. So going to be interesting to see how that works. The item update, new stat penetration, and now you can sort the store by crowd control reduction, which is going to be a cool thing as well. All right, sorry, I had to get a drink. Starter items. I think this is a interesting change. Bluestone Pendant, going, and instead of getting 100 mana off the bat, you get 50, but you get 5 mana per 5 seconds. Good and bad depending on how you play. I mean, after, what is it? You get this basically 100 seconds. Or actually, after 50 seconds, you get basically more mana than you would have got with the original Bluestones. That's going to be interesting. Boomba's Mask. Now, this is going to be kind of show you the difference between the type of jungler you're going to be playing with. Decreased cost from 800 to 500. This is going to be going from Rangda's Mask. So we're going to go from both of these here. Boomba's now removed the mana per 5 seconds, but added 50 health, 50 mana, increased the true damage on camps, and increased the ability damage on camps by 50%. Removed the gold sharing, but added 4 gold and 25 mana bonus per jungle camp kill. So let your jungles get the kill. On the other hand, you have Rangda's Mask, which is crazy. They're giving you stacks on masks. You're now going to get assist or kills. You'll get 1 stack for an assist, 2 for a kill. At 8 stacks, you get 7% movement speed, 10% cooldown reduction, and at 16 stacks, you'll get 15 pen, 10% movement speed, and 15% cooldown reduction. For 500 gold, this is straight outright broken. I would probably rather see, I mean, if you're going to have an aggressive person, go ahead and get Rangda's Match. Maybe, I mean, if his starting gold is still 15, get Boomba's Mask and Rangda's Mask. Go ahead and get both of them. You're going to be doing a crazy ton of damage, and could be interesting. Getting both of these with, you know, some pots and some boots, that could be the new meta right there, is getting both of those. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this plays out, since now they're only 500 gold. Death's Toll now is decrease physical power from 15 to 10, increase the health, and increase the sustain on this. I think this is going to be really good, because a lot of times, like, you know, you don't really need the power as an ADC. Mainly you picked it up for the passive heal or the passive mana. So that's going to be very, very interesting. And it increased your health as well. So not too bad there. Sands of Time is now going to be a starter item built by many mages and guardians. It's kind of like Soulstone, but this is going to give you 10% cooldown reduction, which is crazy already. You get 5 mana per 5 seconds and 20 magical power. This is going to be kind of be picked up by gods that will benefit from this. Opwash is one of them. You might even see Scylla pick this on up, as you know, you do get the extra 10%. Maybe not so much of a Scylla, but maybe something like a Giannis. I mean, we'll kind of see how this plays off, but you know, I can definitely see someone mainly coming to mind as Opwash, people who really need that cooldown reduction. This item now grants 1 additional mana per 5 per 10% of your missing mana. This isn't that great. This really isn't. So it's like, great, when I'm missing 50% of my mana, I now gain 5 mana per 5 second. 1 per second. It's not that great. The passive's pretty shit on that. But 10% cooldown reduction right off the bat could be interesting, especially for supports. We'll see how that goes. Now, Soulstone has a new passive that now buffs all abilities for 3 seconds, not just the next ability, but remove the MP 5 stacks and restores mana when stacks are consumed. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works as well. Swift Wing. I'm probably going to be picking this up as solo lane. I got to go test it, see what it is. Not only do you get 10 health per 5% movement speed, and 100 health, which is pretty damn good, but now whenever you leave Fountain, you gain a bonus movement speed for 40% for 15 seconds. This is ridiculous. You're going to get Sprint for 15 seconds. You can almost just run back to lane and be fine. This is going to be huge, and I am incredibly excited for Swift Ring. I want to test that out. I was kind of thinking, as far as junglers go too, you go ahead and pick this up with your the other Rangda's Mask and Boombas, then start going into your build. Yes, it would be kind of a hefty gold, but I mean, for 1,800 gold, you'd get a ton of basically everything. Now, you know, I'll definitely kind of see how this one plays out, but I'm super excited for this. Vampiric Shrub basically just added 4% magical lifesteal, so interesting on that. Very interesting to see how that'll be picked up there. Rangda's Mask is now different. I think this is a mix-up here. Rangda's Mask is right here. There's another Rangda's Mask, so this may be a mix-up here, but we'll go over it regardless. It's cost 800 gold, 10 physical power, 100 health, and 5 mana per 5. Being in the range of a minion or jungle camp death without dealing the killing blow restores 5 health and mana to all allies within 55 units. Also provides you with a stacking self buff of 1% movement speed and attack speed that lasts 3 seconds. This I see is just not that great. Assassin or warrior picks in the duo lane, like, or support role maybe, but I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. I don't think this will be that great, because you really don't need the movement speed or attack speed of 1%. That's going to be so not even, like, you won't even notice this. And the fact that it's going to act like Watcher's Gift and just give you 5 health and mana to all allies within, I mean, interesting for the range of a minion. This is where I can see it being interesting there. The jungle camp, not so much, but a minion, that means every min wave you get 3 health, 3 mana, or 30 health and 30 mana every single min wave. So that's going to be very interesting. The fact that you can pair that up with your like ADC, that's going to be very intriguing to see how that plays out. Watcher's Gift now increased the restoration from 7 and 12 to, or 7 to 12 and 7 to 10 on the health and the mana. This, I think, is very good. Yes, I mean, this is interesting. This basically allows you to be able to roam and still get your health back. This is going to require you to be in lane. So it's really kind of pressuring the supports to still be in lane, and not necessarily doing a lot of rotations. They now added 5 physical protection and magical protection, so that's going to be interesting to see how this plays off. I really don't see any reason to go ahead and pick up Mark of the Vanguard anymore. Now the fact that this has 5 protections on both, and all you did was remove this. Watcher's Gift, this is a huge huge buff to the Guardians there. Magical Life Tree, now they're basically, looks like they had OCD. This is essentially the OCD patch. Increase the cost to 550. No reason for it except, to make it a 50 item. Enchanted Trinket, again, they kind of increased the cost of that, increased the lifesteal. And Polynomicon, I think this is very good. Most of the time it wasn't picked up as a lifesteal item. It was picked up as a damage, basically burst damage item. Divine Ruin was basically redesigned it as a magical pen item. Pythag's Piece is now going to increase. This is unneeded. Like, you're going to reduce the damage on it, adds 200 mana. and now also grants physical, 10% lifesteal or power depending on their class. Like, this is ridiculous. This is going to be picked up by everyone. This is almost like a support item at this point. 70 units is huge. This may not need to be picked up by mages anymore, but this may be picked up by a support. This could be in a support item now, for the fact that everyone would around it, and you need to be able to get this. This is going to be very interesting. I think there's a very unneeded change. Talent Trinket, again, OCD, increased it by 30. Bancroft's Talent, I don't like this, but the passive adds up to an extra 15% bonus magical lifesteal. So this is kind of, a little bit of both. Really just trying to make you fight when you are lower health. Still going to be very wanted to be picked up by Anubis, especially now that you can gain an additional 15% on top of Bancroft's and Pythag. So this is going to be very interesting. Book of the Dead. Holy shit, guys, we're about halfway through this. Bear with me. I am trying to get through this as quick as possible. We now cost 600 to upgrade from the Talent Trinket, so it's going to be a 3,000 gold item. Gives you 100 magic power, 200 health, 15 magic lifesteal, and then if you do damage to an enemy and you are already at max health, you gain a shield. This shield caps at 20% of your current HP and doesn't tell us how long it will last. This, I think, is very, very good. However, I really don't think... how often are you at max health when you do damage to an enemy? And how often are you really going to do that? I think this is going to be interesting, but the passive I don't think is really going to be feasible. All you have to do, it's kind of like an Odin shield. All I do when I go up against an Odin is try and poke him with anything. As soon as you do that, he loses a bunch of his damage from his shield. That's how you basically counter Odin. With this doesn't do anything. And by dealing damage to an enemy, the passive I think is bad. This is good stats right here, but it looks like there's going to be kind of a go for one of those tankier people. So maybe someone who has some good poke, someone like maybe a Giannis or something that you kind of want to build. If you do want warlocks with, so maybe someone like an Agni where you can go ahead and just throw a thing over the wall and all of a sudden you start getting kind of some health. Gonna be interesting. This, like I said, this is kind of interesting there. Drop the power on that, or drop the price on that. Drop the price on that, but then increased it on Obsidian Shard. I think this is really just to try and really set it apart from Spear of the Magus and make people want to go into that as well, and not make this the clear decided winner. Divine Ruin now costs 2,400 gold, gives you 80 magic power, 15 pen, and now same exact passive, I believe. Enemies hit by your abilities have 50% health and regen for 8 seconds. Spear of Deso, I don't think that's going to be good. As they talked about, and as I have talked about, this is a shitty item. There was no reason to go into it. For 3,800 gold, it was not worth it. Now they dropped it to 2,700. I thought, awesome, this is going to be feasible now, and I thought this was good. But then I see they added 10% CDR, dropped the magic power from 120 to 70, and removed the passive. So really, you're going to spend 2,700 gold for 70 magic power, 20 pen, and 10% CDR. I don't see this still being picked up, and I think, I guess they'll see how it is, but I really just don't think this is going to be too great of a pickup anymore. I still don't think it is. Could be just kind of, bittersweet from the last year. Wordstone, they removed it from the tree and now built off Druid Stone. Same thing with Void Stone. So now there's power and magic protection. Druid Stone is exactly what they were talking about, is now built off of these two here. Cost 700 gold, 20 magic power, all that fun stuff. Stone of Binding, that's going to cost 1,700 gold. Definitely not bad. I think this is crazy, crazy strong for only 1,700 gold. It's going to give you 10% CDR, which, God, they were killing it with the CDR. 30% physical and magical protection, 20 magic power, and then when you get hit by an enemy god with a hard crouch control, i.e. almost any guardian, put a buff on all allies within 70 units of the user. This buff provides 10 penetration for 5 seconds. This is going to be huge, and this is crazy. The fact that it provides this much for only 1,700 gold. This probably should have been around 2,000 to 2,100. I think would have been perfectly fine, but for 1,700 and give all of this is crazy. Like, this is ridiculously strong. Sage of Stone costs 1,400, not too bad. Stone of Foul. Anytime you would be dealt more than 30% of your max health by a single magical ability, that damage is instead reduced to deal exactly 30% of your max health. This is going to be very, very good against going up against someone, say, like a Giannis. When Giannis can literally take half of your health with you know, his unstable vortexes, or maybe an Agni late game when he can kind of pair off his ults and stuff like that. I know they do some pretty good damage. It's going to be a very good anti-burst item for mages. Gives you some good magic power, gives you the magic protection, gives you 10% CDR because CDR is in every single item, and then you get the passive. I think that is pretty awesome and a kind of an interesting kind of sustain so the mages can still fight without getting completely burst down. Keep in mind, it's only a magic ability, so this will not protect you against someone like a Loki or but Ao Kuang, this could be picked up by most people, you know, by most mages to basically defend against Ao Kuang. That ability will be interesting to see how that works. Void Stone now increase the magical protection to 70 now. It looks like they're going back up to what it originally was. Celestial Legion Helm now is changed. From any god affected by your ability, heals gains 20 physical and magical power for 5 seconds. This is going to be good for someone like, you know, Sylvanas or Hell or Ra, anything like that. But on the flip side, you're not going to have that anti-crit item anymore to counter someone like a Hun Batz and Artemis or possibly even a Rama. 60 magic power, 30 fizz protections, 20 mana per 5. It's going to be pretty good all around. It looks like they kind of converged this and Lotus Crown into one. So very, very intriguing there. They dropped the magic protection. See if they say anything, because this essentially is Lotus Crown right here. Is being redesigned as an opposite to Lotus Crown. So very, very intriguing. Celestial Legion Helm used to have like 90 physical protections, which is huge. So this is, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes with the PTS, but damn, I do not like that. Jade Emperor's Crown. This is going to be an aura item. Have their physical power reduced by 30. I think this is really, really cool, given the fact they had something for, you know, well, I think it was Void Stone, which decreases or they had Runic Shield is what it's called, to reduce the magic power. They never had anything for physical. Costing only 2,100, this could be a very good item to pick up as a support. Gives you the power, gives you some protections, health, and pairing this up, this may not be a bad endgame item to fight someone like a Rama. Go ahead and reduce their, you know, magic power. Go ahead and get like a Wing or Witchblade as well. Now they're also going to be having their attack speed reduced. This is going to be very, very interesting. It is now showing that right here, to balance these effects out, Witchblade will now only reduce attack speed, Runic Shield will only reduce magic power, and this new item will now reduce physical power. So I think this is going to be very interesting to see how that goes. Restored Artifact, I think this is really good because this was such a steep pickup here. The original one I think was 600, and then to go 1,300 from there, that's a lot of gold for nothing. Chronos Pendant was only a little bit more. This, I think, like, they're trying to allow you to overcap CDR, but I do not like it. I liked, you know, the old, I don't know, I liked the original Chronos. This, I don't like. 2,900 gold is crazy. Decrease the magic power. And now, I mean, it looks like you'll still get the 20% CDR, but every 10 seconds the pendant activates, subtracting 1 second. Like, I would much rather have the other one. This means you, like, every 10 seconds you need to make sure that you have cooldowns on your abilities. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to utilize this to the fullest of abilities. I do not like this. Rod of Tahuti, again, OCD. Increase the MP5 from 15 to 30. That's going to be huge, though. Like, that's, I mean, that's an extra, what, 3 per second? Or I guess it would only be 1.5 per second. Let's see, I'm trying to think here. You get 15 per 5, which is now 3. So, yeah, you get twice as much. I think you get an extra 3 per second, which is pretty crazy. Let's see, decreased cost. This, I think it was trying to make it a little bit more better for the early game. Decrease the magic power, though, by doing that. Increase the cost by 10. Increase the cost by 10. Again, OCD stuff. Uncommon Sash. Decrease the health and decrease the power, but decrease the cost by 50. It's going to be kind of good to be able to just get that little bit when you don't have to wait another, 30 seconds to... or not 30 seconds, but 20 seconds to actually get this if you are at, 650. So it's going to be interesting. Fortified Scepter, 5% CCR, 150 health, and 50 magic power. It's going to be interesting that you could maybe pick this up first. Most likely not, but just gives you a little bit of magic power as well. Gem of Isolation, now they removed the mana of 250. It still has 250 health, but now adds 10% CCR in exchange for the mana. Yeah, we'll see how this plays off. I don't know. I did like the mana as it allowed you to pick it up with someone like, Poseidon yet or an Anubis. But now it looks like you're going to be trying to get this on a more of supports is what they want that to go for. We'll see how that works though. Ethereal Staff. Now, instead of increasing your power based on your health, your abilities deal bonus magic damage to enemy gods equal to 5% of their max health. This effect can only occur once per god per ability. What the fuck? Smite. What is this? 90 power, 200 health, 20% CCR. New all around, but now, what? You land 2 of your abilities? And you do 5% of their max health? So think of this as someone with an Agni who can throw out 3 bombs super quick. Proc that with Soul Reaver. With everything else, that's 15% of their health, plus all the damage, plus Soul Reaver, which is going to take another 15. So just off passives, you have Soul Reaver for 15%, plus you have 20, 25, 30. So right there, 30% of their health is gone, regardless of anything else. Now if you go ahead and you hit them with the stun, which will also do damage, that's going to be 1 per god per ability. So now that's 4. So now you're at 35. You followed up with your dash and your Path of Flames. I think I might have mixed those up. You're at 50% of their health. I believe, if I did that right, maybe 45. Just off of this is going to be huge for bursty mages. I do not like this at all. I do not like this because Agni's going to be one that can really benefit off this because he can spam abilities. This is probably going to be in the Agni build when it actually comes on out here, guys. So pay attention to that, but holy shit, Smite, come on. Rod of Hearing now added a second aura because why not? If you're in combat, you now provide 70 additional healing to allies within units, but decrease the aura of increased healing from 10% to 5%. Added a second aura. Holy shit. Rod of Asclepius. Now the healing bonus reduced from 25 to 10, but if you're in combat, you provide an additional 20%. So in combat buff, out of combat, not a buff. So just make sure to fight a minion or something to keep that up. Emerald Ring. Again, OCD, they decided to go down to 650. This is crazy, but they did increase the attack speed by 5%. But then Demonic Grip, they ended up decreasing that from 25 to 20 and increase that to basically up 20. So this will be interesting. I like this for the 25. Telkine's Ring is now getting a debuff as well, but also a buff. Telkine's now is, instead of doing an extra 45 damage to your auto attacks, they increase the cost a shit ton to 2,800, increase the magical damage to 80 compared to the 45, but decrease the passive, change the passive, or change the attack speed. Now they changed the passive as well. The old passive, like I said, added extra magic damage. Successful hitting enemies or structures with basic attacks gives you a buff of 10 magic power, can stack up to 5 times, last 5 seconds. So now when you hit enemies, this is going to be actually pretty strong now. You will gain an extra 50 magic power, which means when you're hitting something like this with a soul or a Chronos, then you're going to get 130 magic power from this one item. That is crazy. Shaman's Ring is a new item as well. Going to add 40 magic power, 30% attack speed. Each basic attack that hits an enemy god heals you for 3% of your health and mana per hit. I can see Shaman's Ring, Telkine's Ring now, and potentially Demonic Grip as well, going into something like a Chronos or a Soul. With that much attack speed, you're going to be a huge threat, as well as now you're going to be healing, but it's an enemy god, keep in mind, not just enemy. Will heal you for 3% of your max health and mana, will give you an extra power, and then will also shred their protections. This is crazy. Physical lifesteal items now. Added 10% CCR, because I don't know why. They just want that. Soul Eater now removes the attack speed, but this is the thing, and now I kind of like this. Soul Eater was dead. You did not ever get Soul Eater. Soul Eater was literally a troll item. Increased the cost of 2,200, added 200 mana. This is going to be helpful for those like Apollo that kind of does need that extra mana. Added 20% CCR But now when you hit an enemy god with your basic attack, it heals you for 3% of your max HP per hit. I think this is stupid. You're going to heal yourself for 10. I mean, this is a passive. This isn't on top of the already, from what I'm understanding from this, the already lifesteal that's on it. This isn't replacing it. This is just the passive, which means you're now going to be healing 3%. You have 2 attacks per second. That means every second you're healing 6% of your health plus any damage that you're doing, and I believe this gave you 20% lifesteal, if I do have that right, if I'm remembering right. So you're going to get 20% lifesteal plus 3% of your max health per hit. This is crazy. This is going to be huge right here. Soul Eaters definitely, I think, might go back into the meta here. The only thing is you're sacrificing attack speed, so you got to be very careful and make sure to build something like an Oboe or Ichavolt, something with attack speed to be able to actually fight that. Mace has dropped from 650, Warrior's Bane was increased by 50, and Titan's Bane was increased to 2300. I think this is good because it was incredibly strong for especially how cheap it was. Brawler's Beatstick basically increased the passive, reduced the pen, but decreased the cost 200 too, so good item as well on Brawlers. Crusher now. Successfully hitting an enemy god with a basic attack will subtract 1 second from all your abilities on cooldown. Because why not? I mean, I loved having this to be able to fight and burst down towers, but now, like, this is gonna... I can see this being picked up by Rama now. Go double crit with Wind Demon and Deathbringer, and now build this. This is going to be ridiculous. The fact you can hit an enemy god, start shredding through him, you get attack speed, power, and pen. Now that you've started to hit an enemy god, now you can basically always have your 2 on hand, or your ult. Like, this is... I mean, yeah, I guess it can only affect once every 5 seconds. But come on, like, what is with them in CDR this patch? Like, they got to take some of that off. Hitting the enemy god... Yeah, I mean, maybe not quite by Rama, but this is going to be a very, very intriguing item to see how it works out as well. A lot of things coming on up for Season 4. It's going to be a completely different game. Round Shield now decreased your initial cost from 890 to 650, but decreased the physical power from 15 to 10 by doing so as well. Spike Shield OCD dropped it to 1600 compared to 1610. Shield of Regrowth is now being built off of a different tree. That's about it. Gladiator Shield. Now, anytime you hit an enemy god with an ability, you are healed 2% of your max health and mana. Because why not? Now, I guess they do want to focus this on warriors, but keep in mind, you hit this with a Rama with his 1. This doesn't change anything. This is with your hitting ability. His 1 is a channeling ability. Now, I hope it wouldn't work like that, but you hit him with your 1, you can heal 10% of your max health and mana. That quick. I don't know what they're thinking of here. I don't know. I don't know what they are thinking. This is going to be abused. This is going to be like Golden Bow. They're not thinking about it. You get 10% CDR, 40 protections, and 25 physical power by getting 1700. This is... I get they want this to be for warriors, but... Really? Really? Like, this is going to be picked up by anyone. Think of this as Artemis. You have your range, or Uller. God forbid Uller. You hit him with your 3, so you stun him with your axe. You go ahead, switch, hit him with your arrow, and then your 3. I don't play much Uller, I apologize on those. But you can, with Uller, you can hit the god 3 times in a matter of like a second and get 6% of your health and mana back. This needs to be changed. I don't know what to do. Make it a melee only item. Make it melee locked, because all warriors are melee. I don't know a single warrior that's ranged. This is not good. This is a horrible, horrible item. And Smite did not think this one through. Decreased the cost of Enchanted Buckler from 7 to 650. Increased Runic Shield physical power from 35. And removed the attack speed reduction from the aura. So now it's just going to do the power. Ansile is still going to be a shit item, but they did reduce the cooldown from 60 to 30 seconds. Morningstar is 65 to 50, so reduce the cost on that. Cudgel. Now they actually made this not the worst item in the game. This was the worst item in the game. 750 gold for 100 health and 5 physical power. Now it's at least 650. It gives you 100 health and 5 power. That's not bad. Before it didn't have the power. This is 750 gold for 100 health. Literally the worst item in the game. Runeforge now. Increase the power from 30 to 40. And now enemies take 10% bonus damage from you if they are affected by any form of crowd control. This is going to be super awesome because now this is stuns, this is slows, this is disarms, this is knockups, this is anything. I could almost see this being picked up by tier, which if you guys watch obviously you guys watch the YouTube. If you've been watching some of the videos, I've been playing a lot of tier. This is going to be crazy. They take an extra 10% damage from you if they're affected by any form of CC. That is crazy. I'm going to butcher this one. Shillalog is another Celtic item, not Celtic. Actually, it's Celtic. It's not Celtic. I'm horrible. Don't listen to me. Has 1,500 gold, 10 power, 100 health, 100 mana. Seems very lackluster for 1,500 gold. Yeah, I know, understand it's 15, but fuck, they have starter items that give you like this much. Don't think that's going to be a very picked up item. Blackthorn Hammer, now going to be in the, they want to go into that. Going to give you physical power, 200 health and mana. If you're reduced below 30% health, all of your cooldowns are reduced by 3 seconds. Again, cooldowns high res, come on. And all of your abilities cost 0 mana to cast for the next 5 seconds. This effect can only be activated once every 30 seconds, but holy shit. Think of this on, again, I'm thinking hunters. I don't think they realize this, but hunters are really the people that were abused in Season 3. You go ahead and have this with Rama. All of a sudden, everything goes down, and now you have 0 mana. Now you can go ahead and dash. You can start lifestealing back up above 30%. This is not okay. Smite, please think about your actions. Like, think, please. Lightblade now got reduced to 600. Asai, again, could have moved it up to 1800, but they kept it in 1750 and dropped it. OCD stuff. Physical attack speed. The short bow got an increase from 600 to 650. This is what branched into Oboe, Odysseus's bow, and Ichabod. Hunter's bow. I don't know. I think they did get rid of Ichabod. We will see here in 1 second. Hunter's bow now gives you a bridge built off of short bow. For only 1150 gold, you get 25% attack speed. Silver branch bow, I believe, was Ichabod. I didn't see them taking anything out, but correct me if I'm wrong. Ichabod was 1700 gold, 10 physical pen, and 30% attack speed. But not only that, every time you successfully basic attacked, you increased your physical power by 10 and reduced your target's magical power from items by 10. So I do stand corrected. This is going to be, if you're going up against magical ADCs, now if I actually read that, awesome, that would have worked. But as of right now, Ichabod is for ADCs. This is going to be, if you're going up against a Solar Chronos, you now steal your target's magic power by 10 for 3 seconds and increase your physical power. So I guess this is the mage, going up against mage equivalent of Ichabod. It's going to be very, very interesting. Katana reduced the damage, or reduced the cost from 800 to 700. Masamune now, same thing, 50 physical power, 100 health, 10 movement speed, cost 2,500 gold. But now the new passive is each god, instead of doing more damage to him, the more health they have, each enemy god within 55 units of you gains a stacking buff that provides 5 physical protection and 5 magical protections, can stack up to 5 times. This is good, I could see, for more assassins. I like how they wanted to put this more in the assassin category than hunters, because now when you jump on in as, say, a Hoon Bots, now instead of getting burst down, you jump into all 5 of them to start using your ult. You now just gain 25 magical and physical protections. So interesting change there. I really gearing it towards, you can tell, being the assassin type item. Heartseeker now was increased from 18 to 2100, increased 10 physical power, removed the old passive, but this one I'm very, very liking. You know how Polynomicon was like Hydra's? Well, or like Hydra's Lament? Now think of Heartseeker with Hydra's Lament. Every successful basic attack gives you 1 stack of focus at 5 stacks of focus. Your next ability consumes the stacks and deals bonus damage equal to 100% of your physical power to the first enemy god hit. I don't think they play their game. You will now have Heartseeker, and you will have fucking Hydra's Lament. So you auto attack 5 times, use an ability that does 100% of the physical power. You then proc Hydra's Lament, and I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking here. I'm at a loss. I really am. Hidden Dagger, increase from 670 to 700. Rage, now instead of increasing your crit chance by 10%, I don't like this. It's going to be increasing the cost from 24 to 2600. And now the new one is when you earn a kill or assist, fills you with rage. Haha. Increasing your critical chance by 20%. This buff can stack up to 3 times. So yes, it will have a 20% chance. It can stack up to 3 times, giving you a total of 80% crit chance with rage. But it's not going to be a very great item. I liked it before, but now, even with it, you need to get a kill or assist to take advantage of this. How often do you really get triple kills and still need that extra 20%? I would much rather prefer a Wind Demon, Rage, and Malice to get that, not necessarily all 3 of these. Rage, I think this was a bad change, but I don't know. We'll see how it is. And I get why they did it. They're talking about it right here. Very high crit chance for a single item, but it's what would made it unique. This isn't going to be, I don't know, not happy of this. The Shuriken, guys, and we are almost getting down there. Almost. Let's keep going. We got Shuriken, increase or decrease the cost from 900 to 650, but decrease the power and added 5% attack speed. Shurikens, this is ridiculously strong now. 8-pointed Shuriken is now 10% attack speed, and now Wind Demon, because, it wasn't strong enough, let's give it more attack speed. Poison Star, let's added 15% more attack speed, because his power and the crit wasn't good enough. Poison Star I agree with because it's a shit item, except with Izzy. Wind Demon needs, that was not needed. Ninja Blade, again, OCD stuff, 550. Ritual Dagger. Cooldown reduction. This is the patch of cooldown reduction, previously known as Ritual Dagger. It still is fucking Ritual Dagger. Remove the old passive, which was relics last 50% longer. Now you just gain 20% cooldown on your relics, which, now you can use beads, or you can use combat blink every fucking 60 seconds because it wasn't broken enough to blink in every single fucking ult with Suricate. I don't know. This is crazy. Like, this is, god damn it. Hasten Fatalis now added penetration but decreased the attack speed from 30% to 20. But it's now going to be, it really looks like they're trying to gear this towards assassins again, like, Kali and Bakasura. It's going to give you penetration as well. I can kind of see why. We'll have to see how this plays out as well. Cursed Blade, very interesting, as it now see some huge stat changes as it's talking about. Gives you 5% movement speed, increased attack speed from 10% to 15%, added 100 health, but it removed the physical protection. All enemies now within 55 units have their attack speed reduced by 10%. Witchblade is going to be very, very difficult now. Very, very difficult to want to pick up for supports. Like, this is going to be very, very difficult. I don't know what this was for. You're removing the physical protection off it, so supports don't want to pick it up. It only gives you 200 health, 10% movement speed, removed the physical power reduction on it. And enemies now hit by your attacks are cursed, receiving 15% of reduced healing. Now I'm going to feel bad because I thought it was only attack speed. All right, I stand corrected, guys. I apparently don't even know the own game that I like. Reduce the power by 30 and their physical and their attack speed by 20%. Witchblade was super, super strong, so I do get that. Also gave protections, but now this isn't going to really be picked up. I don't know who really would. Besides, enemies hit by your basic attacks are cursed, receiving 15% reduced healing, stacking up to 3 times. So this is going to be quite strong as far as they reduce the healing by 45%. You pair that up with something like Curse, and now they have no healing whatsoever. This is going to be interesting. They're really trying to make it more of an ADC pickup here, but without increasing your attack speed or anything. It would only allow you for more boxing ability not even really, because I don't know. I think this is a bad change. Yeah, I got to say, no physical protections, no a new passive. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see, but I don't think there's going to be a good change here. I'm hoping it still removes, or it still is a attack speed debuff, but which I think we saw earlier. But holy shit, I don't think this is going to be a good item, good change. Health and Protections Cloak was reduced. Bunch of cost, not too big there. Physical Iron Mail, decrease the cost again, decrease the health, and decrease the physical protections. Breastplate is now 500 compared to 555. Silver Breastplate now adds 10 mana per 5. Physical protection from Breastplate of Valor increased from 75 to 65, but added 10 mana per 5. This is going to be interesting. I now always picked it up for the CDR and the good magic or physical protections, but now the extra 10 mana per 5, I guess, honestly, I would have traded the physical protections for the mana per 5, just my personal preference. I don't really need that 2 mana per second. Nemean Lion, now they added mana per 5 seconds on this too. I'm not sure why. They increased the passive reflect though from 20 to 25%, while also reducing the protections from 90 to 80. This I think is a good change here. I'm all right with this one. I don't want to quite say good, but I'm happy with this one. I'm not happy with Breastplate. Spectral. Let's see what they can change again. This is going to be the third item change, or the third time they've changed this item. First time that came out, it was Spectral Armor, and I believe it was allowed you to walk through walls and stuff. But then they said, well, now it's going to rechange their reduced cooldowns of your relics, and now it's going to be this. I don't know. We'll see. Added 10 mana per 5. Or decrease the protections, decrease the CCR, but now the new passive, anytime you've received physical protection or damage from a god, enemies within 30 units of you become feared for 1 second. This is interesting. I like it. It's going to be a very situational item, of course, but I like it. Like, think of this with, like, say a Hades or something. Like, this is interesting. I like this. Now, I would like this to be once every 30 seconds, not 60. But we'll have to see how this plays out. I like that. Talisman just basically decreased cost, decreased the health, and decreased the magic protections. Nothing there. Bulwark of Hope got increased in cost by 25 gold. We got a new Talisman of Relentless. It gives you magic protection, 200 health, 20% CCR. Every time you're hit by a hard CC from a god, you became more relentless at 3 stacks. You may become CC immune for 1 second. This is basically Mantle of Discord after getting hit 3 different times, which can be interesting because I'm thinking if this counts on tier, you go into a knockup or you do the Fearless into a cleave, that potentially could be 3 stacks. Because at that point you get the knockup damage twice. You get the cleave, which if they are in the air from the knockup of Fearless, they then get knocked back. That would be 3 stacks every time you get hit, and then your next CC would make you CC immune. This could be a very good pickup against something like a tier. But it gives you physical magic protection and all that fun stuff there. The CCR health and 2250 gold. Decreased magic protection on Genji's Guard and Enchanted Kusari. Interesting. Oni's Hunter's Guard. Now when you deal damage to an enemy god, if at least 2 other enemy gods are within 55 units of you, you gain 15% damage mitigation for 5 seconds. I get this, but still I'm not too fond of Oni Hunters. Like, we'll have to see how it goes, but I don't know. I'm not feeling this one as well. Shogun's Kusari. Interesting. It's even saying it's a little twist. Allies within 70 units of you gain bonus 15% attack speed. You also get 10% CCR, 60 magic protections, 20 mana per 5, and 20% CCR. They're throwing a bunch of CDR and CCR. I think this is going to be a very, very, very good item for the fact you get the magic protections, you get the mana per 5 for supports, you get the CCR and the CDR, and you can still help out everyone around you by giving them a 15% attack speed buff. This is going to be very interesting. Health and HP 5. Stone of Gaia no longer replenishes 2% of your health every 5 seconds, or maybe it was the other way around. If you're being hit by a knock up or knock back, you're now, instead of enveloped by the ult, becoming CC immune. This is going to be huge for people going up against tier. This is going to be almost a direct counter to tier. You become CC immune for 1 second and regenerate 10% of your health and mana over 5 seconds. And this can only happen every 90 seconds. This is good. This is going to be interesting to see how this is picked up, but this is going to be a huge, if you're going up against someone like a tier, you're most likely going to see this be picked up a lot by the solo laner. Shield of Regrowth. I don't know, it looked like they changed this to basically help out all those people that were trying to use it on Thanatos. They added 10 and health and mana, increase the movement speed when you heal from 35 to 40%, increased the CDR to 20%, and added 400 health. But by doing that, they removed the physical protections and the power. So interesting changes here. We'll see what they're looking at to do with that. Gauntlet of Thebes no longer increases all healing and regeneration by 20%. Instead, the magical and physical protections of allies within 70 units are increased by 20. This is going to act as sovereignty and heartward in a sense mixed into one. So I can't see this being picked up there because as it is talking, you saw little use in Season 3, and now this is going to be pretty interesting to see if this is picked up more. I think this might be a rushed item. It not only gives you a ton of health, which I believe they're keeping that unchanged. I want to say it was 400 health, and I want to say there was another item or another stat on that as well. But increasing that with the magic protections and the physical is going to be pretty interesting to see this be picked up a lot more compared to what we saw a lot of Season 3 in, as seeing the sovereignty, the boots followed by sovereignty and heartward being picked up by the supports. Aphrodite. She now is going to be getting an increase in her health and an increase in the scaling on her back off, her 2 ability from 60 to 80%. I think that's interesting. We'll see what it is. Guys, we're on the God changes. We are almost there. Let's go. Keep bursting on through this. Apollo. Now remove the effect that causes successive enemies take 15% reduced damage. I think that's going to be kind of cool across that. His ult has now been buffed because it's or nerfed because it's a global ult. It's 110 seconds at all ranks, not reducing as time goes on and as you leveled up, which means this will now 100% sure basically be the last thing you upgrade and probably go into your dash. I don't know. We'll have to see. Watch out for the cool or the God build on that. Bakasura now on his ult not only just increases the slow, but now it sticks to the and not just the area, but it changed the slow duration to 4 seconds on who you hit. Increased the cone attack duration from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. Shanghai is going to see a huge buff as well. Increased speed to run is 3.5 times the player speed, not just 1.7. So they doubled that, which is pretty impressive. Decrease the setup time of the Moonlight Waltz. Instead of 0.1 seconds, going to be instant. So that's going to be pretty nice. Moonflower Dance now decrease the magical power scaling on heal from 40% to 30, and increase the magical power scaling on damage from 30 to 50. So this is pretty strong now. I really like this on her. I'm gonna probably start playing her a lot in solo now that she's kind of had these buffs. Like, this is pretty impressive. Chronos now increase the base movement speed from 355 to 360. No longer provides basic attack movement penalty. This is good. This is really going to change how he was played. We saw a lot of him played in the SPL, and now that the fact that they're going to remove that whenever he activates his accelerate is going to be very interesting. He might have to pick up like a hasten now to really be able to benefit, and maybe going all the way back to well, maybe just to the mid lane. He still will be very strong, but the fact that it's even talking about Fatalis Effect as a strong boxing tool, by getting it for free on Chronos, Jingwei, and Sol, they had a strong leg up on their opponent. They took it out of Chronos, so this is probably a hint that Jingwei and Sol will probably get it taken out of. Erlang Shen's getting nerfed to shit, but I don't even know why the fuck they have that as a 2 ability. I probably would not even level this up. I'd probably go into the 3-1 and ult, and then level this up last. Maybe go 1 point in case you really need it. But his pin no longer cripples, then why even go into it? This was what made him very strong. The fact that it no longer cripples, it's like, okay, well, now how do I do it? You've taken out the turtle, his form of CC. He now only has a knock-up and a taunt. Yes, that's very strong, but by making this change too, you now are forced to go into your mink form. But if you do that, you can now attack, but you have no ability to really get a ton of damage out. Because only activating your 1 now no longer gives you the hastened Fatalis. You can't do the knockup. Now, this would be strong. I would be okay with this if they... And then don't get me wrong, Erlang Shen's still really fucking broken. But the fact that you now have no form to follow up your damage. If they moved it back and said, okay, when you activate your 1, you now get the ability to do it, then yes, you could go into the knockup into your 1, but now you have to go into your mink form into this. I don't agree with this, and I don't think it's going to be a very good pickup here. We'll see what happens, but I really think they kind of did some bad things to Erlang Shen. Valkyrie's Discretion has now been nerfed at the early game, but late game is going to be the same. Guan Yu is just another healer seeing a shift. I don't know why they really messed with Warrior's Will here. Looking at that, they decreased the mana, but decreased the slow and decreased the boosted slow. I get why, but I don't think it was really needed. I guess the mana cost I'd be okay with, and maybe this, but the boost, I don't know. I guess I'm indifferent about this. I don't really think it's a great idea. I don't really think it's bad. Conviction, I think this is good. He had incredibly high healing, especially laning against him. As soon as you finally get some really good poke damage, he just, oh, hey, okay, well, now I've done 20 bits of damage and taken it. Time to heal for 300. Like, this is, or 370. Like, that is ridiculously strong and was way, way, way strong, especially in team fights. Cavalry Charge now increased the base damage across the board, it looks like, by 10, and then it scales 10, 15, 20, 25, and it looks like 30. So increased by 10 base damage and then increased by 5 across the ranks. Hell has had quite a long story. This is not needed. I like how they are trying to change the light stance, where now you heal yourself and an ally, but you have to hit an ally, but this is going to take away your damage, which she wasn't really needed. Dark stance, now this passes through hit targets dealing damage and then explodes at max range or hitting a wall. So this is going to be interesting. This is now going to be able to hit more than just one god. Light increased. I think this is good because this was kind of lackluster. 1.25 definitely isn't bad, but 1.5 allows you to more preemptively be able to do things. Reduced skill cap in a sense is what they did on her. This now ability now heals a smaller amount for every 1 second for the 6-second duration. Light heal is going to be scaling each 1 second for 6 seconds. I'm not quite sure what they're doing here. This was the Repulse and Inspire. Heals smaller amounts every 1 second for the 6-second duration. To my knowledge, Hell was an instant heal. I'm not sure what it quite was, unless they did change something up here that I did miss, where it's going to be a heal over time. That might be what it is. I think they might have just forgot to put that in here. And then her switch stances now gives light stance provides magic and physical protections, and when you level that up. Dark is now not going to be really even used except to use the thing. So be in light stance at all times, because your mana can now is now applied to both stances, but is now decreased from 15 to 35, just as flat across the board, 10 at each ranks. Hercules is going to be so fucking strong. I need to learn how to play him now. Because Strength from Pain, every time Hercules takes damage from gods, he gains 5 physical power plus 1 per level. Keep in mind, with your 20, you will gain 25 power when you take damage from gods. This will now stack up to 3 times, last 5 seconds, which means you will have 75 physical power increased. Now decreases the, mana cost from his, I believe this was his 1, his Earthbreak, or no, I think this was his 2 ability here. 60 to 80, and now it's 70 to 90 to 60 to 80. Reduce the mana cost on that. Mitigate wounds. This is now fucking stupid. Like, this is stupid. Like, so stupid. Did I mention it's a really stupid idea? Hercules now heals himself instantaneously, but that's not all. Like, I feel like Billy Mays right here, but wait, there's more. He then heals himself over the next 5 seconds. But wait, there's more. Hercules now gains bonus magical and physical protections for the duration. Initial heal will be 175 plus another 175, 35 per tick. So hold on. You nerfed Guan Yu but buffed Hercules. All right, perfect. Oh, and on top of that, it gives you 50 physical protections and magical protections while being able to do that. Oh, but wait, there's more, guys. They decreased the cooldown to 15 seconds. And wait, again, there is more. Decrease the mana cost. So he can usually use this as much as he wants. 40% cooldown will take that down to about 9 seconds. Every 9 seconds, you can heal yourself 350. What the fuck? While also being able to give yourself, this is 4 seconds in a sense. Now that it's not even going to cost that much mana? What the fuck? High res. Overhand smash increases scaling from 85 to 95. Somersault decreases from 50 to 40. Jingwei looks like decreased the health scaling, and her movement speed was decreased as well. Rapid reincarnation decreased the duration from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. I believe that was her passive. So that's going to be interesting. You won't be able to get back to lane as quick. Her agility now removed the basic attack movement penalty and then decrease the mana cost by doing that. So this is going to be cool. The more you leveled up, the less it'll cost you. But now you no longer get the auto attack penalty there. Solar Flare increased the base damage of his stun from 40 to 200. Two, it looks like they upgraded 10 and then 10 per level, allowing you to do 250 damage on your stun from the distance. Scarab's Blessing now was increased to 110% at all ranks. Medusa, I think she could be brought back into the meta with this. The fact that you're going to be able to do 25% or 25% more damage on your ult, even if they turn away, is huge. It's actually going to be somewhat of an execute, even if they don't look at you. Increase the healing reduction to 50% at all ranks as her lacerate, as well as increased her base damage from her lacerate. Not so much in the early, but scaling 10 each time. So you'll be able to do 280 damage, decrease their healing, and you'll still be able to get that, like, I don't want to say stun, but root for like half a second while she hits you. That's going to be huge and a great counter now to someone like any sort of healer like a Sylvanas. Neja increased the cooldown from 12 to 14. At first I was like, this is bad. There's no way. Flaming Spear though, as I saw, reduce the cooldown from 18 to 14. That's going to allow you to basically heal yourself more often. So this is good. This is bad. This is good. This is good. If they would have not increase this, I'd say it was bad, because then that's not good. Our melee research though is now decreased at 14 seconds at all time. I really like this, and I think this is a good change to Neja. He can be in a sense brought back and played competitively now. Nike 2 victory. That's her passive, decreased from 8-10-12 to 6-8-10. Still a very, very good passive. Rend is now going to decrease the physical power scaling from 50 to 40% per hit. Still incredibly strong, and it's still going to be something to reckon with. Her ult is now decreasing the power scaling from 80% to 70. So kind of going to hit me there, as the build I normally use does have quite a bit of physical power. So not too bad, but not, I think this is overall a good change to Nike, even though I still think that she's not the greatest in solo. She's more of a jungler. And I really wish that they would just change her to a jungler. Clay Soldier's basic attacks now deal magical damage instead of physical damage. Is going to be, I think honestly this is bad. It actually allowed Nuwa to be able to not have people directly, build protections against magical, because they would still be able to take damage from physical. I think by doing this, it's in a sense a buff and a nerf. Most of the time you have more physical protection than magical. At least most of the time when I play solo, that is how it is. Now I know supports may differ with me there, but I really think this should have stayed physical instead of magical. Not a good change on Nuwa in my opinion. Now Solar Blessing is now reducing the by 10 across all ranks. The healing per tick, decrease the magical scaling on his per tick, but now provides protections to his allies inside the ability. So now you're going to have even more of a reason not to fight inside, because you'll not only be getting healed, you'll have protections, but now if you're fighting into it, you're going to be taking damage, and they will have an extra 30 magical and physical protections. His Rolling Assault now is 11 at all ranks. I think this is good, because he could almost like spam his 3 late game and be very, very strong. Sarah Kit, basically they are giving her an insane buff. Now when you have 2 poisons, it's no longer 10%, it's 15, and when you have all 3 poisons on them, in addition to your true damage coming out from your ult, you'll now do immediately 25% of the target's max health. Sarah Kit is incredibly strong. Scotty now has her increased base movement speed to 375. The Caldier's basic attacks are now doing a little bit less damage, but the increased movement speed on Permafrost is basically going to grant you sprint and give you a 25% to 40. This is going to be very interesting to see kind of what the higher skill people do. If your dog's about to kill someone, do you stand on your Permafrost and hope that they Caldier gets the extra speed and catches them in time, or do you keep chasing? Disapparate no longer provides the immunity to basic attack movement penalty, which I think is a very, very good thing. Looks like they did do that while in Jing, Kronos, and Soul, so this is pretty interesting. But it did increase the movement speed buff from 20% to 40. So late game is when they were doing it compared to 20, 25, 25, 25, 30. They just kind of increased it by 5 at each rank. Sun Wukong now has the threshold of instead of 35% to 40, but no longer grants a critical strike chance. It now provides more power, which I think is definitely more in his kit. There's no reason why you needed a Sun Wukong with fucking crit. No warrior would ever need crit. Somersault Cloud now does do more damage as well. Susanoo increase the physical damage scaling from 25% to 60 because that's exactly what he needed to do. His 2 was never a damage ability. He so needed damage in it because he definitely didn't have enough CC and bullshittery going on. So Wind Siphon, shitty fucking change right here. I don't like this. Jetstream now is... I think this is good. The fact it could do 140% of his physical power just by hitting you with a fucking ability is way strong. 30% is much better. He's still incredibly a strong jungler. You can see the changed ability description to actually indicate the true damage, which his Jetstream was less. So, not too bad there. But now Typhoon, I like this change though. Now you deal bonus damage the longer it charges, in addition to the base damage, maxing out at 100 damage at all ranks. This is good. I don't like this. The bonus damage. I like the longer it charges, the more damage it should do. I really don't like you can just charge it through it. I think the longer you charge it, the more you should do. I don't know. This, I like half of this. The bonus damage is stupid as fuck. The other one is good. Sylvanas now, Verdant Growth now applies protection reductions from 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 for 5 seconds on hit of enemy gods. Wisps now decreased the healing and decreased the magical power scaling on healing. So they're really nerfing, healers this year. Terra increased her base damage from her Force of Nature, which was her dash. Decreased the base healing on her Monolith, very strong. And now Terra's Blessing now decreased the healing on her ult. Instead of scaling 100 per upgrade, it's now only 50. So please, someone tell me how Terra is now still in the meta. She's not good. I don't find her being useful. I'm not a big fan of having Terras on our team because she doesn't really bring much to the table. Especially now, she's been nothing but nerfed and she's not going to be playable. Please don't, unless I'm being honest, you guys have, and one of you guys can actually tell me how Terra will still be good after all of these nerfs that she has gone through. And last but not least, guys, it's finally coming to an end. We have Thoth seeing as final, in a sense, changes. Evade and Punish no longer slows enemy hits, it just stuns. Because that's great. No, sarcasm, I don't think so. I think this is a horrible thing. Evade and Punish should not stun. Like, this is a horrible thing. I'm not okay with that. Glyph of Pain, they need to now increase the ally basic attack damage across all ranks and also increase the scaling as well. The only thing I think they really got good with him was his Final Judgment. They decreased the base damage by not much, but late game only 40, decreased the magic scaling, which I think was good, and increased the cooldown. He could use this every 46 seconds, which is ridiculous. You literally had no reason to not use it. You could just walk in, ult, and boom, okay, there you go. I think that was good. They sit there and say that they gave him the evade and punish stun to be able to get out and stuff. It was a slow, he was fine. Anyways, that was the long patch. Hopefully I got it out here quick enough. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until the next time, have yourself a fucking amazing life.